The new species no one expected on it was Human Part 1. First Contact Protocol. Deep Space Monitoring Station buzzed with activity. Lights flashed across control panels as technicians moved between workstations. Something unusual had happened, and everyone could feel the tension in the air. Commander Tian stood before the massive display screen, his forearms crossed behind his back. His purple skin gleamed under the artificial lights of the command center. As a member of the Vorthon species, he had served the Galactic Council for over 200 years. He had seen many strange things in space, but nothing quite like this. "Me the signal again, Tiran?" said to his communications officer. The officer, thin creature with large eyes and gray skin, pressed several buttons, speakers filled with a series of sounds that seemed both organized and chaotic at the same time. Mathematical patterns mixed with what could only be described as music. Pictures and symbols flashed on the screen in rapid succession. "This signal came from the outer rim," the officer explained. "From a system we have never explored before. The strange thing is, Commander, they seem to have faster-than-light communication. But our long-range sensors show no signs of interstellar travel capability." Dr. Kale, the mission's head scientist, stepped forward. Her species, the Zalani, were known throughout the galaxy for their analytical minds. She had 6 thin arms and skin that changed color based on her emotions. Right now it was a deep blue, indicating intense curiosity. "This is fascinating," Dr. Kale said, her voice carrying the musical tone typical of her people. "In all our records, we have never encountered a species that developed FTL communication before FTL travel. Usually, civilizations achieve space travel first, then work on long-distance communication." Tiran nodded slowly. "What else can you tell us about this signal?" Dr. Kale moved to her workstation and pulled up several data screens. "The transmission patterns suggest something remarkable. This species appears to work together in ways we rarely see. Most civilizations have strict hierarchies, with clear leaders and followers. But these signals show coordination between millions of individual sources, all working toward common goals." She paused and changed the display to show visual elements from the transmission. "Look at this. They have sent us mathematical proofs, but also artistic expressions. Scientific data mixed with what appears to be cultural information. And most interesting of all, they seem to be inviting us for peaceful contact." The room fell silent. Peaceful first contact was not common in galactic history. Most species were either aggressive or fearful when they first encountered aliens. This appeared to be neither. "There is more," Dr. Kale continued. "Our analysis of their planet shows some disturbing information. According to our standards, they live on what we would classify as a death world." Several officers in the room made sounds of surprise. Death worlds were planets so dangerous that most species would never attempt to colonize them, let alone evolve on them. "Explain," Commander Tiran said. Dr. Kale's skin shifted to a worried orange color. "Their planet has extreme weather patterns. It's massive storms that can destroy entire cities. Temperature variations that would kill most galactic species. Gravity is almost twice what most of us consider comfortable. Seismic activity that makes the ground shake regularly. Art. And the wildlife." She paused. "The wildlife appears to be extremely dangerous. How did they survive such conditions?" asked Lieutenant Vex, a young officer from the insectoid Krith species. "That is what we need to find out," Terran replied. "Prepare the diplomatic vessel Unity's Dawn for immediate departure. I want a full scientific team, cultural experts, and enough supplies for an extended mission." Over the next several days, the crew prepared for what could be the most significant first contact mission. In recent galactic history, the Unity's Dawn was one of the Council's finest ships, equipped with the latest translation technology, scientific equipment, and diplomatic facilities. As they traveled toward the mysterious system, Dr. Kale continued analyzing the transmissions. Each day brought new surprises. "Commander," she called during one of their daily briefings, "I have discovered something remarkable about their communication patterns." The senior staff gathered around her workstation. These beings do not just communicate with words and images, they share emotions. "Look at these patterns here." She pointed to waveforms on her screen. These are not just information transfers. They are sharing feelings, experiences, and what we might call artistic inspiration. Artistic inspiration? Tiron asked. Yes, Day. Create things not just for practical purposes, but for beauty, for emotional impact, for the pure joy of creation. This is unusual. Most species focus on practical applications first. Art comes much later in their development. The ship's cultural expert, Professor Jack, leaned forward with interest. He was from the Morvac species, known for their understanding of social structures. This suggests a species that values cooperation and shared experiences above individual achievement. It's very different from most civilizations we encounter. Days passed as they traveled through hyperspace. The crew studied every aspect of the transmissions, trying to prepare for what they might find. Some were excited, others worried. Meeting a species from a death world could be dangerous. Finally, they arrived at the edge of the system. The main screen showed a yellow star with several planets orbiting around it. The third planet from the star glowed blue and white, clearly covered in water and clouds. Sensors show the planet is teeming with life, reported the science officer. But the readings are ... unusual. How so? Terran asked. The life forms are incredibly diverse. Thousands of different species, from tiny organisms to massive creatures, but they all seem to coexist on the same planet. This is not typical. Usually, one or two species dominate a world's ecosystem. Dr. Kale's skin turned bright yellow with excitement. Commander, we are receiving new transmissions from the planet. They know we are here. The main screen filled with images from the planet's surface. The crew stared in amazement at what they saw. Vast cities with millions of inhabitants. Structures that seemed to grow from the ground rather than being built on top of it. Transportation systems that moved smoothly without causing environmental damage. But most surprising of all were the beings themselves. They were bipedal, like many galactic species, but they moved with an energy and purpose that was immediately noticeable. They appeared to be constantly in motion, constantly doing something, constantly interacting with each other and their environment. Have noticed our arrival? The communications officer announced. They are sending what appears to be a welcome message. The message came through the translation systems clearly. The voice was warm and carried tones of genuine curiosity and friendliness. Greetings, visitors from distant stars. We are the humans of Earth. We have been hoping to meet others who travel between the worlds. We welcome you in peace and friendship. Please, come and share knowledge with us. We have much to learn from each other. Commander Tiron looked around at his crew. Every face showed the same expression of amazement. In all their experience, they had never encountered a first contact situation quite like this. Prepare landing shuttles, he ordered. It appears we are about to meet a very unusual species indeed. The new species no one expected, and it was Human Part 2, the impossible survivors. Captain Rex stepped out of the landing shuttle and immediately felt the crushing weight of Earth's gravity. His knees buckled slightly as he tried to adjust to the heavy pull. Around him, other members of the cultural exchange team struggled with the same problem. This gravity is intense, gasped Dr. Mira, the team's medical officer. Her breathing was labored, and she had to use a support staff to stay upright. How do they live under such conditions? Rex activated his gravity compensator, a device that helped reduce the planet's pull on his body. The other team members did the same. Even with the technology helping them, moving around felt difficult. A group of humans approached them from across the landing field. Rex watched in amazement as the humans moved easily, walking and even running without any sign of struggle. They seemed completely comfortable in gravity that was crushing the alien visitors. Welcome to Earth, called out a human woman with dark hair and a bright smile. She moved with smooth, confident steps that showed no effect from the heavy gravity. I am Dr. Emma Stone, and this is our welcoming committee. Rex tried to return the greeting, but his words came out in short gasps. The human woman immediately noticed their difficulty. Oh, you are having trouble with our gravity, she said with concern. Please, do not worry. We have prepared special chairs and support equipment for you. We understand that our world is heavier than most." As they were led to a nearby building, Rex observed the humans more carefully. They were not just surviving in this crushing gravity, they were thriving. Children ran and played games that involved jumping and running at speeds that would be impossible for most galactic species. Adults carried heavy objects without any visible strain. Inside the building, the alien team was able to rest and adjust their equipment. Dr. Stone began explaining about human life on Earth. "We know our planet is unusual," she said. "Your preliminary communications told us that you consider Earth a death world. We suppose you are right, but for us, it is simply home." Lieutenant Kreese, the team's environmental specialist, raised one of his forearms. "Dr. Stone, our readings show that your planet experiences massive storms that can destroy cities. How do you survive such events?" Dr. Stone smiled. "We do not just survive them, Lieutenant. We use them. Those storms bring rain for our crops and winds that power our cities. We have learned to work with our planet's weather, not fight against it." She led them to a large window that showed the outside landscape. Rex could see massive structures that looked like metal trees reaching high into the sky. "Those are wind generators," Dr. Stone explained. "They capture the energy from our storms and turn it into power for our cities." Dr. Mira asked, "But what about the dangerous animals?" Our scans showed creatures that could easily kill most galactic species. "Ah, you mean our wildlife?" Dr. Stone said with a laugh. "Many of them are dangerous, yes, but we have learned to live alongside them. Some we have even made into friends." As if on cue, a massive four-legged creature entered the room. Rex and his team immediately reached for their emergency devices, thinking they were under attack. The creature was covered in fur and had large teeth that were clearly designed for hunting. But Dr. Stone simply reached out and patted the creature on its head. "This is Max," she said calmly. "He is what we call a dog. He lives with my family." The alien team stared in shock. The creature, which looked like it could tear apart any of them, was wagging its tail and making happy sounds. "You live with predators?" Rex asked in disbelief. "Dogs are not predators anymore," Dr. Stone explained. "Thousands of years ago, we formed partnerships with them. They help us hunt and protect our homes, and we provide them with food and shelter. We call it domestication." "Captain," Rex was beginning to understand that everything he thought he knew about survival was wrong. These humans were not just surviving on a death world. They were turning its dangers into advantages. Over the following days, the alien team observed human society more closely. What they saw challenged every assumption they had about intelligent life. They watched humans run for long distances without stopping, something that would exhaust most galactic species within minutes. When they asked about this, a human athlete named Jake explained. "Running is natural for us," Jake said as he jogged in place, barely breathing hard. "Our ancestors hunted by chasing animals until they became too tired to run. We can run slowly. For many hours, it is called endurance hunting." The aliens watched in amazement as Jake demonstrated. He ran for over an hour at a steady pace, never stopping, never slowing down significantly. When he finished, he was tired but not exhausted. "Most galactic species are either very fast for short distances or very strong," Dr. Kreese observed. "But you were built for lasting effort." "Exactly," Jake replied. "May not be the fastest or strongest, but we can keep going longer than almost anything else." The cultural exchange team also witnessed human accuracy with thrown objects. A human named David showed them how humans could throw stones and spears with deadly precision. "Our shoulders and arms evolved specifically for throwing," David explained as he hit target after target from long distances. "We can calculate the path of a thrown object instinctively and adjust for wind, distance, and movement." He demonstrated by throwing objects while running, while jumping, and even while lying on the ground. Each throw hit its target perfectly, but perhaps the most surprising discovery came when the team observed human medical care. They watched as human doctors treated injuries that would be fatal to most galactic species. "Humans can survive damage that would kill us," Dr. Mira noted in her report. "They can lose significant amounts of blood, survive broken bones, and even function with damaged organs. Their bodies seemed designed to keep working under extreme stress. A human doctor named Lisa explained, "Our bodies have many backup systems. If one part fails, other parts can take over. We can survive with one kidney, one lung, and our blood can clot quickly to stop bleeding." The alien team realized they were not observing a primitive species struggling to survive. They were observing the products of millions of years of evolution. On one of the most challenging planets in the galaxy, "Your species evolved in constant danger," Captain Rex said during one of their evening discussions. "Every day was a test of survival." Dr. Stone nodded. "That is true. But we did not survive by being the strongest or most aggressive. We survived by working together, by adapting to change, and by never giving up." She gestured to the city around. "Them, where millions of humans lived and worked together in harmony. What you see as impossible survival, we see as normal life. We learned to make our dangerous world into our greatest strength." The alien team was beginning to understand that they had not discovered a species that needed protection or guidance. They had found something entirely new in galactic history, a species that had turned adversity into advantage, danger into strength, and survival into an art form. The new species no one expected, and it was Human Part 3, the Pack Bond Revelation, DAR. Vale walked into the conference room where the Galactic Council representative sat in confusion. She was a human psychologist who had been brought in to help explain something that was puzzling the alien visitors more than anything else they had observed about humanity. "Thank you for coming, Dr. Vale," said Commander Tyrion. His purple skin showed patches of deep blue which indicated confusion in his species. "We need to understand something about your people that makes no sense to us." Dr. Vale sat down at the table, noticing how the aliens kept a respectful distance from her. This was exactly what she needed to address. "What specifically is confusing you?" she asked with a gentle smile. Dr. Kale, the alien scientist, leaned forward. Her skin had turned a worried orange color. "Dr. Vale, we have observed your species. For several weeks now, you are clearly capable warriors. We have seen your strength, your endurance, your accuracy with weapons. But then we see you acting in ways that seem to contradict your nature. Can you give me an example?" Dr. Vale asked. Lieutenant Vex, the young insectoid officer, spoke up. "Yesterday we watched human soldiers training for combat. They were fierce and effective. But when one of them was injured during the exercise, the others immediately stopped fighting to help him. They put themselves at risk to save someone who was not even seriously hurt." Dr. Vale nodded. "And this surprises you?" "Yes," exclaimed Dr. Kale. "In our experience, warriors focus on winning. Showing concern for the weak makes a species vulnerable. But humans seem to do both at the same time. How is this possible?" Dr. Vale stood up and moved to a large screen on the wall. She displayed images of human families, communities, and groups working together. "What you are seeing is something we call pack bonding," she explained. "Humans did not evolve as solitary hunters like many species. We evolved as group hunters and gatherers. Our survival depended not on individual strength, but on group cooperation." She clicked to the next image, showing human children playing together. From birth, humans learn to form emotional connections with others. We call these connections bonds. Once a human forms a bond with someone, that person becomes part of their pack. Commander Tyrion tilted his head, a gesture that showed interest in his species. "Pack-like animals?" "In a way, yes," Dr. Vale said. "But human pack bonds are more complex than animal packs. Humans can form bonds with anyone, regardless of species, age, or relationship. We can form bonds with our family, our friends, our coworkers, and even with strangers we have just met." She displayed a video of human children meeting alien visitors for the first time. The children showed no fear, only curiosity and excitement. Within minutes, they were trying to communicate and play with the aliens. "This is what confused us most," admitted Dr. Mira, the alien medical officer. "These children had never seen our species before, yet they immediately tried to make friends with us. Why would they trust unknown aliens?" Dr. Vale smiled. "Because humans have an instinct to form connections. When we meet someone new, Our first impulse is not to see them as a threat, but as a potential friend. This instinct helped our ancestors survive by building larger and larger cooperative groups. Change the display to show human workplaces where people from different backgrounds work together on complex projects. The bonds humans form are not just emotional, Dr. Vale continued. They are practical. When humans care about someone, they will work harder, fight more bravely, and sacrifice more to help that person succeed. Lieutenant Kreese raised one of his forearms, but this seems inefficient. Why waste energy caring about others when you could focus on your own survival? Because it is not waste, Dr. Vale replied. It is investment. A human who has strong bonds with others has a support network. If they get injured, others will help them. If they face a problem, others will work with them to solve it. If they are in danger, others will risk their lives to save them. She showed a video of human rescue workers saving people from a natural disaster. The aliens watched as humans entered dangerous areas to save complete strangers, people they had never met before. These rescuers are risking their lives for people they do not know, observed Dr. Kale. What possible benefit could this give them? The benefit is to the entire human community, Dr. Vale explained. By saving others, they strengthen the bonds that hold society together. Every person saved might go on to help others in the future. Every act of kindness creates more kindness. Commander Taeon leaned back in his chair. So you are saying that humans are warriors when they need to be, but they prefer to be caregivers? Not exactly, Dr. Vale said. Humans are both at the same time. We fight to protect, not to conquer. We compete to improve, not to destroy. Aggression is always balanced by our compassion. To demonstrate this point, she showed footage from human sports competitions. The aliens watched as humans competed fiercely against each other, but then helped their opponents up when they fell and congratulated them when they won. In most species, competition and cooperation are opposites, noted Professor Jack, the cultural expert. But in humans, they seem to work together. That is correct, Dr. Vale said. Humans understand that making others stronger makes the whole group stronger. We compete to bring out the best in each other, not to eliminate the weak. She then showed something that stunned the alien observers: humans taking care of elderly and disabled members of their communities even when those individuals could no longer contribute to society. This makes no evolutionary sense, Dr. Kale said, her skin turning a confused purple color. Why waste resources on individuals who cannot help the group survive? Dr. Vale's expression grew serious, because humans understand something that many species do not. The value of an individual is not measured only by what they can do today. Our elderly have wisdom and experience. Our disabled members often see solutions that others miss. And more importantly, caring for them teaches our children about compassion and loyalty. She displayed images of human families spanning multiple generations, all living and working together. But there is another reason, Dr. Vale continued. Humans form bonds not just with the strong and useful, but with anyone who needs help. We call this empathy. It means we can feel the pain and joy of others as if it were our own. The room fell silent as the aliens processed this information. Finally, Commander Tieran spoke. Dr. Vale, you are telling us that humans bond with others, not because it benefits them, but because they cannot help themselves. In a way, yes, she replied. Caring for others is as natural to humans as breathing. We do not choose to form bonds, we simply do. And once those bonds are formed, we will do almost anything to protect the people we care about. She looked around the room at the alien faces, all showing various expressions of amazement and confusion. The reason your soldiers stopped fighting? To help their injured teammate is because, to them, he was not just a fellow soldier. He was family. And humans will always put family first, even if it means risking their own lives. The new species, no one expected, and it was human part. For the Death World advantage, the news about humans spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Within weeks of first contact, every major civilization knew about the strange species. From the Death World called Earth, most reactions were curious or friendly, but not all of them. General Korax of the Hegemony Alliance stood before a massive holographic display showing Earth and its surrounding space. His species, the Drachnari, were known throughout the galaxy as fierce warriors. Their red scales and sharp claws made them look dangerous even when they were trying to be peaceful. "So these humans think they are special," Korax growled to his officers. "They live on a harsh world and believe this makes them strong. We shall see about that." The Hegemony was a military alliance of several species who believed that strength was the only thing that mattered in the galaxy. They had heard about human pack bonding and cooperation, and they saw it as weakness that needed to be tested. "What do you propose, General?" asked Colonel Vrack, his second-in-command. "We will invite them to participate in our standard military training exercises," Korax replied. "These exercises are designed to test the limits of different species. They will show us exactly how strong these humans really are." The invitation was sent to Earth through official diplomatic channels. It was presented as a friendly competition, a way for humans to demonstrate their abilities alongside other galactic species. Admiral Kane received the invitation at the Earth Defense Command Center. She was a veteran of many conflicts and had earned respect throughout the human military. Her gray hair and calm demeanor hid a sharp tactical mind that had never lost a battle. "They want to test us," she said to her staff after reading the Hegemony's message. "This is not really about friendship or cooperation. They want to see if we are a threat. Should we decline?" asked Colonel Davis, her chief of staff. Admiral Kane smiled. "No, we accept. But we make our own rules about who participates." Instead of sending only human soldiers, Admiral Kane assembled a mixed team. Half were humans, and half were aliens who had been working with humans since first contact. The team included Commander Tiaran from the original diplomatic mission, Dr. Kale the scientist, and several other aliens who had become close friends with their human colleagues. When the mixed team arrived at the Hegemony training facility, Korax was surprised. "We invited humans to test their abilities," he said to Admiral Kane. "Why did you bring aliens?" "'Cause this is how humans work," Admiral Kane replied calmly. "They do not fight alone. We fight as teams, and our teams include anyone who wants to help." The training facility was located on a planet that the Hegemony considered perfect for military exercises. It had harsh weather, difficult terrain, and dangerous wildlife. The exercises were designed to break unit cohesion and reveal the weaknesses of different species. The first challenge was a survival test. Teams were dropped in different locations with minimal supplies and had to find their way to a central meeting point. The environment was designed to be hostile to most galactic species. General Korax and his officers watched from the command center as the teams began their missions. They expected to see the mixed human-alien teams struggle with the harsh conditions. Instead, they saw something remarkable. The humans immediately began adapting their tactics to help their alien teammates. When Commander Tiaran had trouble with the high gravity, a human soldier named Mike adjusted the team's pace and found ways to reduce the load on the alien's legs. When Dr. Kale's species had difficulty with the cold temperature, a human medic named Lisa shared her body heat and taught the alien how to layer clothing for better insulation. "This is not standard military procedure," observed Colonel Vrack. "They are slowing down to help the weak members of their team." But General Korax noticed something else. Despite helping their alien teammates, the mixed team was making faster progress than the all-Hegemony teams. The humans were using their knowledge of difficult environments to find easier paths and better shelter. The second challenge was a combat simulation. Teams had to capture and hold strategic positions while defending against attacks from multiple directions. This was designed to test aggressive instincts and individual fighting ability. Again, the human approach surprised the observers. Instead of rushing into battle, they spent time analyzing their alien teammates' abilities and designing tactics that used everyone's strengths. Sergeant Jake, the human team leader, assigned Commander Tiaran to reconnaissance because his species had excellent long-distance vision. He put Dr. Kale in charge of communications because her species could process multiple information streams simultaneously. "They are treating this like a cooperative exercise instead of a combat test," General Korax said with confusion. But the Results spoke for themselves. The mixed team not only won their battles, they did it with minimal casualties, while the other teams suffered heavy losses. The third challenge was the most difficult. It was a scenario designed to create panic and break team unity. The teams were faced with impossible choices, where they had to decide who to save and who to sacrifice. The hegemony observers expected this, to finally reveal human selfishness. Surely, when faced with life or death decisions, the humans would abandon their alien teammates to save themselves. Instead, they witnessed something that shocked them. When faced with a scenario where they could save either human or alien team members, the humans consistently chose to save their alien friends first in one simulation. Corporal Andy was trapped with both Commander Tiaran and another human soldier. He could only save one of them. Without hesitation, he chose to save Commander Tiaran. Why? General Corax demanded when he questioned Andy after the exercise. Why save the alien instead of your own species? What? Andy looked at him with genuine confusion. Commander Tian is not an alien to me, sir. He is my friend. Humans protect their friends. The most surprising moment came during the final exercise. It was a battle scenario where the teams were supposed to fight against each other. Humans were matched against a team of hegemonies, best warriors. But instead of fighting, something unexpected happened. The human team began talking with their opponents, trying to understand why they were fighting and looking for ways to solve the conflict without violence. Private Sarah, a young human soldier, was heard saying to a Draconary warrior, "We do not want to hurt you. Can we find another way to complete this exercise?" The Draconary warrior, who had been trained from birth to see combat as the solution to all problems, found himself confused by the question. No one had ever asked him if there was an alternative to fighting. Within hours, two opposing teams were working together, sharing food and stories around a campfire. The combat exercise had turned into a cultural exchange. General Corax watched this scene with growing amazement and frustration. "This is not how military exercises are supposed to work," he told his officers. Colonel Vrock nodded in agreement. "These humans are either the weakest species we have ever encountered, or the most dangerous. I cannot decide which." The final evaluation was supposed to rank the teams based on their military effectiveness. But the human approach had made such rankings meaningless. They had not just completed the exercises, they had transformed them into something entirely different. Admiral Kane stood before General Corax during the closing ceremony. "Thank you for inviting us to participate," she said politely. "We learned a great deal about your military traditions." "And what did you learn?" Corax asked. Admiral Kane smiled. "We learned that there are many species in the galaxy who have never experienced the power of friendship. We would like to change that." As the teams prepared to leave, something remarkable had happened. Friendships had formed between humans and hegemony soldiers, species that had been enemies for generations. Were making plans to visit each other's worlds. The new species no one expected danned. It was Human Part 5. The new paradigm 6 months had passed since humans first made contact with the Galactic Council. The Great Assembly Hall on the Council's homeworld buzzed with activity as representatives from hundreds of species gathered for the most important meeting in galactic history. Commander Terran stood at the central podium, looking out at the sea of different faces, colors, forms that made up the galactic community. His own purple skin showed patches of bright gold, indicating excitement and hope in his species. "Honored representatives," he began, his voice carrying clearly through the translation systems. "We are here to discuss a proposal that would have been impossible to imagine before we met the humans." In the audience, Dr. Kale sat with several other scientists who had been studying human society. Her skin glowed with a steady blue color that showed deep fascination. Beside her sat Admiral Kane and Dr. Vale, representing humanity at this historic gathering. Tiaran activated a large holographic display that showed images from the past 6 months. "When we first encountered humans, we thought we were meeting another species that needed our guidance and protection. We were wrong." The display showed scenes of humans and aliens working together on various projects. Construction sites where different species collaborated to build new structures. Research laboratories where human and alien scientists shared discoveries. Medical facilities where human doctors learned to treat alien patients while alien healers studied human medicine. What we discovered, Tyrion continued, is that humans have something our galaxy has been missing for millions of years.
I have
The ability to make strangers into family. A representative from the Karathi species, known for their logical thinking, raised one of her 6 arms. Commander Tyrion, this is a nice sentiment, but how does it benefit galactic civilization in practical terms? Dr. Kale stood up to answer. Representative Zira, let me show you what we have learned. She gestured to the display, which now showed scientific data and charts. In the 6 months since humans joined our research projects, we have made more breakthroughs than in the previous 50 years. Problems that had puzzled our best minds for decades were solved within weeks when human and alien scientists worked together. The display showed examples. New medical treatments that combined human adaptability with alien precision. Energy systems that merged human creativity with alien technology. And agricultural methods that increased food production across multiple world types. But it is not just about science, Dr. Kale continued. Human emotional intelligence has helped us solve social problems that have existed for centuries. She showed images of former enemy species now working peacefully together on joint projects. The trade disputes between the Vec and the Morvac were resolved in 3 days when human mediators helped both sides understand each other's real concerns. Representative Korax of the Hegemony Alliance stood up. His red scales looked less threatening than they had months ago, and his voice carried a tone of respect that had not been there before. I must admit, he said, when we first tested the humans, we thought we were evaluating their military potential. Instead, we discovered something far more powerful than any weapon. He gestured to several of his own officers who were sitting with human soldiers. My warriors have formed bonds with human fighters that make both groups stronger. They fight not just for victory, but to protect each other. This creates a unity we have never seen before. Admiral Kane stood to address the assembly.
Representatives.
Commander Tyrion has asked me to explain why we believe the galaxy needs a new approach to cooperation. She moved to the center of the hall, where everyone could see her clearly. For thousands of years, galactic civilization has been organized around hierarchies. Strong species lead, weak species follow. Advanced civilizations guide primitive ones. This system has worked, but it has also created limitations. The display now showed a map of the galaxy, with different regions marked in various colors. Each species has developed amazing abilities within their own specializations, but progress has been slow because species rarely combine their strengths in meaningful ways. She pointed to specific examples on the map. The Zalani are brilliant scientists, but they struggle with practical applications. The Draknari are powerful warriors, but they have difficulty with diplomatic solutions. The Vorathon are excellent administrators, but they sometimes miss creative possibilities. Dr. Vale joined her at the center of the hall. What humans bring to the galaxy is not superior technology or greater strength. We bring the ability to see the potential in everyone and everything. She activated a new section of the display showing mixed teams working on various projects. When humans work with other species, we do not try to lead or follow. We try to understand what each person does best and help them do it even better. The image showed a construction project where Draknari's strength, Zalani precision, human adaptability, and Vorthan organization had combined to build something none of them could have created alone. This is what we call synergy, Dr. Vale explained. The result is greater than the sum of its parts. Professor Jack, the cultural expert, stood up from the audience. Dr. Vale, this sounds wonderful in theory, but how do we implement such cooperation? On a galactic scale, Commander Turan returned to the podium. That is exactly what we are proposing today. We want to create the first truly integrated galactic colonies. The display now showed detailed plans for new settlements, where multiple species would live and work together as equals. These would not be human colonies with alien workers or alien worlds with human visitors. They would be shared communities, where every species contributes their strengths and everyone benefits from the results. The hall erupted in discussion, as representatives talked among themselves about this unprecedented proposal. Many seemed excited, but others appeared worried or confused. Representative Zira spoke again. "This is a radical change from how we have always organized galactic society. How do we know it will work?" Admiral Kane smiled.
Eight.
"Because it is already working. Look around this room." She gestured to the audience, and everyone could see what she meant. Throughout the assembly hall, humans and aliens were sitting together, talking quietly, sharing ideas and observations. Friendships had formed naturally during the 6 months of contact. 6 months ago, most of you had never seen a human. Kane continued. Today, how many of you consider humans to be friends rather than strangers? Hands, claws, tentacles, and various appendages rose throughout the hall. Nearly every representative raised some form of limb to indicate friendship with humans. "That is the power we are talking about," Dr. Vale said. "Not the power to conquer or control, but the power to connect. Humans did not set out to change galactic civilization. We simply treated everyone we met as potential friends and family." Commander Tyrion called for a formal vote on the proposal to create integrated colonies. "All those in favor of establishing the first multi-species cooperative settlements, please indicate your support." The response was overwhelming. Representatives from dozens of species voted in favor of the proposal. Even some who had been skeptical decided to support the experiment. As the vote was tallied, Dr. Kale stood up one final time. "Representatives, today we begin a new chapter in galactic history. The first time, we are choosing cooperation over competition, friendship over hierarchy, and unity over division." She looked directly at the human delegation. 6 months ago, we thought we were making contact with a primitive species that needed our help. Instead, we discovered that we were the ones who needed help. We needed to remember that the greatest strength in the universe is not the ability to destroy or dominate, but the ability to care for others as if they were family. The session ended with the approval to begin construction of the first integrated galactic colonies. As representatives filed out of the hall, humans and aliens walked together, making plans for their shared future. The galaxy would never be the same again.